Alright guys, after publishing my Project Hyperion guide, which received an incredible amount of support, and I really appreciated all the positive feedback, a lot of you also asked for a Vanduul Tech Smugglers guide in a similar format, so here it is. But before we dive in, if you enjoyed this type of content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I do record and edit all my own content, and these guides take up quite a bit of time to put together, so your support is genuinely appreciated. And with that, let's dive straight in. So what should you bring with you? On screen is what I'm taking, but at a high level, bring heavy armor. You're going to be fighting a lot of enemies. Bring a weapon of your choice with a lot of ammo. Make sure you bring a sniper rifle. You're going to need a sniper rifle in this contract. Make sure you have some sustenance, some med gels for your med gun or med pens, whatever you prefer. But more importantly, bring multi-tool with a salvaging attachment. I like to take 2 multi-tools, one with a salvaging attachment and one with a tractor beam. Just make sure you put a full canister in that salvaging attachment because you might need it. You can also bring a fuse. I'm not taking a fuse because you can pick one up during the mission, but might be a good idea to bring a fuse with you as well. Next, and this is quite important, bring a hoverbike, whether it's the Mirai Pulse or a Drake Dragonfly or whatever, just make sure you bring it. I'll explain later in the guide why you need it, but it can save you a lot of time. And finally, the ship you bring to this mission is quite important. There is the early part of the mission that actually requires you to fight a few of the Vanduul ships before you can progress. So you actually need a ship that's capable of defeating them and withstanding sort of all the attacks that you get. I'm taking the Starlancer TAC. That's primarily the reason I bought it, so I could bring you guys this guide. Also because this has a medbed, which is significantly helpful in this mission. If you don't have a ship with a medbed, make sure you bring an Ursa medevac. Dying in this mission means a long journey back, so the ship is quite important for this one, guys. Alright, let's talk about how to accept this mission. So you have to be in Nyx. Once you're in Nyx, under your investigation section, you should see a mission called Vanduul Tech Smugglers. Now on my screen you're seeing retrieve additional smuggler intel. That's because I've already completed it once. Once you complete it, it changes its name, but it's the same exact mission with a slight difference at the start that we will discuss as we get into it. And finally, if you're not seeing the Vanduul Tech Smugglers mission under investigation, you likely do not have a sufficient amount of rep with Intersect Defense Solutions, so make sure to work on that. I believe you need Junior Contractor. Alright, so now as you arrive at your mission location, if you're doing it for the first time, the contract probably says something along the lines of take out 4 to 5 Vanduuls, and then it's going to ask you to land in the hangar. Because I'm not doing that, it basically just tells me to go straight in. My recommendation is take out the Vanduul, land in the hangar, come right back out, because what you want to do is put your ship on a pad outside the entry location for this contract, because if you're carrying an Ursa medevac or your ship has medbeds, you won't be able to access them if the ship is inside the hangar. So now for this first part, like I said, you got to take out the Vanduul. You're really relying on your capabilities and your ship's capabilities. You do have to take out the number of Vanduul that you're being asked to take out. But basically, the only advice I can give you here is if you're really worried, you could try to fight next to or closer to some of the larger asteroids. Sometimes these Vanduul just crash straight into them, and that still counts as a kill. So once you've taken out the Vanduul, if your mission is asking you to go land in a hangar, go do that, come straight back out, and then we're going to go and land on this pad that I'm about to show you, and it offers a straight entry into the mission area, and from here our missions, mine and yours, are going to be exactly the same. So to get to this pad, you're sort of looking for this Polaris, and you want to make sure that that Polaris is on your right hand side. So as you can see, I'm getting closer and closer. I'm making sure that the Polaris stays on my right hand side. I keep checking it, so there is the Polaris, and basically the pad is right there. Where I'm pointing right now is where the pad is. I'm slowly approaching and keeping an eye on my surroundings so I don't crash into anything. But again, the Polaris is to your right, as you can see. and we are headed towards this pad. Now, sometimes there are other ships parked here, so you just have to be careful. Try to get as far in as possible on this pad, because those Vanduuls we just killed, they do respawn and they do attack your ship. Now, a ship like the Starlancer TAC can really take a lot of those hits and they won't be able to take it down while it's parked on this pad. But again, the further in you are, the safer your ship is. So just land it here, get out, and we will proceed straight in. As always, I'm going to be speeding up any sections where there isn't much going on or we're just clearing a room. I'll stop and highlight any key areas that you need to know. But other than that, I just want to make sure that I'm also keeping the video to a certain extent. So here we're just going straight in and we're going to call the elevator and go up to the entrance. Alright, so now that we're in the entrance, I do want to highlight that you probably saw we just passed some ASOP terminals. Those are where you can access your hangar from, so in case you need that, just make sure you access the hangar. And now we're about to get into the real meat of things, so just make sure you're fully healed up, your guns have all the ammo that they need, and you're walking down this path. So I'm gonna pause here for a second, and I just want to explain something before we get into that big center room with the fire. So you're gonna see me run up these stairs, turn left, and run up another set of stairs and hide behind some boards. That's the path I would recommend because those boards do give you some protection from all the enemies shooting at you. So let's go up these stairs. I'm gonna take out a few enemies to my left. You don't have to worry too much right now. The enemies are just starting to spot you. So then again, run up these stairs. You see this little ramp in front of you? Go up the ramp and hide behind these boards here. They will offer some protection from enemies sniping at you from far away. So try stand here, take out as much as you can. The only thing is be mindful of that staircase right there where that guy showed up. There's some enemies that come through that side. You want to take them out as quickly as you can. Heal yourself quickly because to your right is another opening where the enemies will attack you from. So I'm not looking there right now because nobody was there when I last checked, but I'm trying to take out as many enemies as I can. But here, the direction I'm walking into, that's, you see some enemies there, you want to take them out. Now the whole idea here is to take out as many enemies as you can from behind these boards and try to jump over that on the right hand side where you just saw me take out some enemy. That's going to be the goal. Once you've taken out enough enemies, you're going to try jump over that right hand side and push inwards. So where I'm just killing that guy, that's where you're going to push and get in from. Alright, one last check to try and see if we can get any other enemies before we go into the right and push in. Alright, so now we're going to head in here and try to push over into this area because this is where we need to go to shut off the alarm. So I didn't kill that guy, I'm gonna kill him now, kill that dude, and then just turn right and you see where the maintenance sign is. That's where you're going in because the alarm is going off right now and you need to shut that down. Alright, now we're going into this maintenance area. There are two guys here that you need to take care of, so just make sure you take them out. Sometimes if you don't see them like this, they are kind of hiding right there, so take them out. Now this area is really important. Two things to take note of. You're going to see this data pad right here. Pick this up. And the one thing to be very careful of is you will see more data pads like this during this run. You are not going to pick up another one. This is what gives you access to the loot room right at the end. Just pick that up and do not pick up another one. And then finally turn off the alarm right here. Once you've turned off the alarm, we're gonna go back out the way we came to the maintenance section, and the goal now is to clear the upper floor. Remember, we're on the upper floor, we had jumped through, we're gonna clear that entire upper floor. There is a medbed on this floor. You can't set your regeneration point to it, but you can use it to heal injuries, and I'll show you where that is. So now I'm gonna speed through and cut through some of these sections because all I'm doing is clearing the upper floor. So I'm gonna speed it up a little bit just to show you guys, but I'm also gonna cut through some of these parts. All I'm really doing is just clearing up the enemies on the top floor. Alright, now that I've cleared the floor, we're heading to the clinic, which is again on the top floor and has a medbed to heal your injuries. So I'm gonna do that quickly because I did sustain an injury. We're gonna head downstairs, and I'm slowing this part just to show you guys the right way to go downstairs. So we're coming out of the clinic towards the left, and we're going to take this staircase that's coming up right in front of us. This is the best way to go down, and you'll see why in a second. I also just want to show you where we are exactly. So there, right, what I'm about to show you, there is the maintenance room that we were in where we turned the alarm off. So if you hadn't taken injuries and cleared up the entire floor, you would just go down this path and take this staircase to your left. So what we do now is we run straight from the staircase and jump over into this area right here, because the room that we need to get our first data packet in, that your objective is asking you to do, is right there. So that security room has a lot of enemies in it. You want to be very careful, make sure there's no other enemies left on the bottom floor, and slowly start to take out enemies in here. Make sure you stay outside, make sure you step away, heal yourself, and then go in once you feel like you've cleared every enemy in that room. Alright, once you think all the enemies in the room and the surrounding area are dead, this is where you're going to find the first data packet. So one of these guys is sort of like the boss of this area. You're gonna find his body and retrieve the data packet. How would you know that? Basically, on his body, if you point your gun at him, instead of saying loot, it'll say download data, like that. So once you hit F, the data download starts. The other thing to note is that he's carrying a decryption key, so you want to make sure that you loot him for the decryption key. All you really need is that decryption key. So we're going to take that, and that's really it. Now here is that area. I'm going to pause here. So remember this data pad I told you that you picked up earlier? You're not going to pick up this one. You only need one data pad. What we do with those data pads is we put them into these racks, the one that you see on the right, and you need to put that data pad into 3 different racks. This is the first one during this mission, and that's what gives you access to the loot room right at the end. So to put it in the rack, you've got to carry it and make sure you insert. The rack does its thing and returns the data pad to you. So again, you're going to be doing this 3 times during this entire run. This is the first part where you do it. Alright, once that data pad is done, now we're going to decrypt the first set of data that we picked up. To do that, hold the decryption key you just picked up from that guy. Go to this terminal on the left. This is basically where you're going to decrypt the data packets throughout this mission. So the first one you can just decrypt right here. Just put in that decryption key and click Start Decryption for the data that you just downloaded. Now, once this is decrypted, you also need to get more data packets. So now we're done with this first area and first section. The only thing I would say is there are probably still 1 or 2 enemies hiding around somewhere on this lower floor, so just be careful. But we are coming out of that room and going straight to cargo deck B on our right. So you're gonna follow through this corridor, get to the elevator, and go to cargo deck B. Alright guys, this area is very dangerous and you've got to take it very slow and very carefully. It is full of enemies. This is an entire sort of cargo hold area and there's a lot of enemies and there's 2 floors. So the enemies are going to be above you as well, and some guys are on machine guns. So you've got to take them out. Now look at me, I'm going extremely slowly, checking every corner, and that's how you want to take it because you are most likely going to die here. Now obviously you might respawn in your ship or the Ursa medevac right outside on the pad, but try not to die. Just take it slow, heal yourself. Now the goal in this section is to find a data packet. How do you know when you're going to find the data packet? Basically in cargo hold areas like this one and the next one that we have to do, when you kill the right person, it will put a marker on them and you will know that that's the person that was carrying the data packet. So basically just kill all the enemies until you see a marker show up on one of their bodies, and that's the one. You're going to walk up to them, download data, and pick up the decryption key. You only really need one decryption key on you, so you won't have to continue to pick them up the next time you kill one of the guys that you download the data from. So what I'm gonna do now is cut through a lot of this. I will just show you where the guys on the machine guns can be, and then I'll show you the marker on the guy's body so that you know this is what it looks like, and that's where you gotta pick it up from. So here I'm progressing inwards with my sniper, and if you look to the left, there is that other floor I was talking about, and there's the first guy on the machine gun. So he obviously saw me, did quite a bit of damage, but as you progress, just try to hide behind things and take out any guys on the machine guns. There could be another machine gun on the lower floor, so you just have to be very careful here. But again, just clear that entire room until you see somebody drop the data packet. So here I'm almost done clearing the room, and typically it doesn't work like this, but for me the guy kind of showed up in the second wave of enemies that show up, and as you see I just killed somebody that got a yellow marker on them now, so he's the guy that's dropped the data packet. Basically you just walk up to them, download data, and because we no longer have a decryption key because we used our first one, you just want to make sure that you pick up a decryption key from this guy. And we're done with this room. We're gonna head to the next cargo area, which is cargo deck A, and clear that section. So we're going back out of the elevator to that center room with that giant fire in the middle, and I'll show you where to go to get to cargo deck A. Actually, before I forget, you should head back into cargo deck B, because there are these cryopods that you can pick up and put in the elevator and send the elevator down, and you'll be able to access them later when you are flying out of this area from the hangar. Alright, let's head back down the elevator and go to the next cargo deck. Alright, here we are back in that big room with the fire in the center, so all you do is just go to the right, and you're gonna sneak all the way to the right of this room. There's typically one or two enemies right outside. Just take care of them. They generally don't do much, and then you will be going to cargo deck A right behind you over here. Alright, so once in cargo deck A, same exact story as cargo deck B. Just make sure you clear the entire deck out. There are going to be a lot of enemies, and again, it is very challenging. Just take it slow till you kill the guy who drops the marker, and then that's where you download the data, and you don't need to grab the decryption key this time. So again, I'm going to cut some parts out and show you the key points. So in this one, I kind of killed the guy a little early. I'm obviously trying to get these guys on the machine guns that are up top there. Try to use your sniper as much as you can and try to pick people off. So as you see, that marker has appeared right there. So again, you still have to clear out the entire room, because to run all the way up there, you're going to get surrounded by enemies. So just again, keep picking through the room. So I've made my way upstairs to find the guy and basically download the data. Again, you don't need the decryption key again, so just need to collect the data. Now this is how it typically works. You kill the guy, and he's typically in the first wave of enemies that are already in the room, and a second wave of enemies shows up after. So I'm kind of preparing for them. I don't believe they ever showed up in this run, but this is when, if there was going to be a second wave of enemies, they will sort of come through that same area where the elevator is. But again, once you've got the data, nothing is stopping you. You could just run straight to the elevator and go down. So with that, you've completed this entire area. So this area where there was that room with the giant fire in the center has cargo deck A, cargo deck B, and the loot room. So once you've completed cargo deck A and cargo deck B, we're actually going to head back out to where we parked our ship. The loot room we access right at the end of this mission, so there's nothing to do there. So once you've done cargo deck A, cargo deck B, just slowly work your way out, just in case there were any other enemies remaining, or if you had died, some of them may have respawned. So just slowly work your way back through the whole section and get all the way out back to your ship. So now you're going to use your hoverbike, and while I speed this section up, I just want to explain why. So basically what happens is those Vanduul have either respawned or more Vanduul have showed up, and if you fly your ship again, they will attack your ship. But if you fly the hoverbike, they do not attack you. So now you get onto your hoverbike and you need to head over to the other building, if you want to call it that, which is in the other asteroid, and that's where the next data packet's going to be. So basically there are two portions left to this mission. One is to go to that Polaris that we saw at the beginning of the mission, and the other is to go to the other building. Now the reason you want to go to the other building first and not the Polaris is because sometimes there is a bug where the main enemy with the data packet in the second building doesn't show up. So you always want to do that first, because if that bug is there, then there's no reason to progress with the rest of it, and you can just, quit the mission if you have to. Typically lately I've seen that he's always there, so nothing to worry about, but I would still recommend doing the other building or the asteroid before the Polaris itself. So how do you find this other location? Basically it's exactly where I'm looking right now. It's a giant asteroid with sort of like a space station antenna, giant metal arm sort of sticking out of it, and you want to keep going there. There's going to be an entry, and the objective will update once you get to the entry point. And as you can see, even though there are Vanduul around us, we're not being attacked right now. So this is the primary reason you bring a hoverbike. If you didn't bring it, as you know, there is a hangar in there. You can always just pull one up and use it that way as well. No issue if you forgot to bring it. So here we are at the entry point. The closer you get, the better, because the objective is going to update. So as I get closer, there you go. An objective has now shown up on my map with 3 markers in my view. And basically what you need to do is you need to search these 3 markers for an access card. It can be at any of these 3 markers, and it is a bit of a pain to get there with a hoverbike. It's slower, but again, it's still better than having to fight all the Vanduul around you. So just fly over your hoverbike to each of these and search. I will show you the one where I found it. Typically once you get closer to these areas, you get off your hoverbike and roam around and get close to each of the dead bodies in there, and one of them will have the card that you need. So I've cut to the one that had the card for me. Again, it's purely luck dependent. So here I am. I've gotten to one of these locations. I am actually off my hoverbike right now and floating in. And as you can see, the marker updated as I got close. So here is the dead body with the access card that I need. Again, just get close, hit F or I, and then just get the card off this person. Once you have the card, you want to get back on your hoverbike and get back to that entry point that we were at. Basically, you're going to want to EVA in space now, so just get off your bike and enter through the doors. Once you're through the doors, it's pretty easy to spot whether the enemy with the card has or hasn't spawned. He's right in front of you through that window, and basically he's already dead, and a spear through him right there. If he's there, you're all set. So now we're just going to clear this first room. The main goal to show you guys this is just to where to get the fuse in case you didn't bring one. So we're not going to the central hub over there with the red light. We're just going to keep working our way left. Basically there is a locker room towards the left in which the fuse spawns. I would still recommend bringing a fuse just in case somebody else has been here and the fuse isn't there. Now again, you don't always need the fuse, but bring one with you so you don't even have to worry about it. But basically in these locker rooms towards the end, so not in the shower but this way, you will see the fuse right there. So once you've grabbed the fuse, head back out, and now we're going to go into the central hub. So just be careful, some new guys can show up as you're approaching the central hub. Just take them out. And now this part you have to be extremely careful. You basically want to try to take out as many enemies as possible through this gap in the doors, but again, there's a lot of them and sometimes you can't really see too well. I would really say take this carefully. Kill as many as you can from here. There's a guy to the right as well. But eventually the idea is you're going to push through this gap, and now you're looking for a laptop in this area. This laptop has the code that lets us into the security room where that guy was hanging on the wall. So the challenge is that this laptop can be in this entire area, can spawn at multiple locations in this entire area. One location you need the fuse to get into. The other location, you need the salvaging attachment to get through. So it really depends on your luck where this laptop is going to spawn. I will show you. For me, it spawned in a pretty decent location, but I will show you where you need to use the salvaging attachment and where you need to use the fuse. Now again, for me, it was in a decent location, but really you will have to clear out the entire area if the laptop isn't showing for you. You'll have to keep clearing until you find the laptop. Now it's going to look exactly the same as the laptop I'm going to show you guys, so you will know what to look for, but that's really the goal here. So for me, I got really lucky. The laptop spawned in this bar area right here, and it's never spawned here for me before, and there it is. This is what it looks like. You need to basically get into the laptop, and you're going to go through the emails, and one of them has the code. So there it is. For me, there is the code, and you just need to remember this code and head back out of that gap where we were. I do want to show you guys where you need the fuse. So this is the security room, and this is where you would have needed the fuse. Sometimes the laptop shows up inside that room, so use the fuse there. And then secondly, that's the area where you need the salvaging attachment. So if the laptop hasn't shown in either of these locations, you're going to come here, you're going to repair this pipe, and then go through this and continue clearing until you find that laptop. So that's what you got to do to find the laptop. Once you have the laptop, you're going to get back out of this gap, go right, and you will find the security door to your left. Right there is the security door, and you just put in your code and you will be able to go inside. So my code was 6678. And once you put that in, you can go straight in. There is no enemies in here. There are some good weapons here, typically a boom tube or something similar, so you can grab that if you want to. I didn't grab it. So now in this room are two things. The guy on the wall where you download the data packet, so that will complete this whole section, but also another one of those racks where you're going to put that data pad that we picked up at the beginning. So this is the second rack basically, and once you put the data pad in here, just wait for it to come out, and then we are going to head over to the final section for this mission, which is going to be the Polaris. Obviously there is these orange loot containers in all of these rooms, including the cargo decks that we did. I haven't been highlighting them because it's not something specific, but you know, keep looking at them. If there is anything that you want, you know, you can grab that. Basically, once you're done with that, get back out, go back to your hoverbike and start making your way back to where you had landed your ship, because that is close to where the Polaris is. And basically there is an opening on the side of the Polaris that you're going to need to access. So here we are on the left side of the Polaris, left from where it's pointing, and the entrance is basically to the bottom left of that fire that you see right there. So you're gonna have to EVA off your bike and get in. Once you're in, just keep working your way through this corridor right here. There's going to be enemies all along the way. Now, this Polaris also has medbeds. Again, not for regeneration points, but to heal any injuries. So again, just keep checking that there's no enemies. Now, there is this slight opening in the door, and sometimes you can see enemies from here. So take out as many as you can. That is eventually the room we're going for, but try to clear out as many as you can. Now, I don't believe the enemies can crawl out from under here, so you know, it's a good opportunity for you to try take out as many as you can from where you are, but obviously be careful. There are other enemies on this ship that we have to take care of, like the guy right there in front of us. So the guy we just killed, that's where we're gonna go. But you know, obviously use this opportunity to take out as many guys as you can in this left room, but we're really going to be going straight. My only advice here, like I've been giving the same advice for the rest of this mission, just be extra careful. There is a lot of areas where people can show up from. Even though I checked this area, later on guys show up from there. So just take it slow, kill whoever you can. This is the room you're going to be going into, but you want to try get everybody else before you go into this room. So I'm gonna cut to the part where I'm going straight into this room. There were a lot of guys that showed up for me. There is nothing to see there but just me clearing the guys, so I'm gonna cut that part out. So here we are going into this room now, and you again have to be very careful. There is multiple entrances to this room and guys kind of show up or spawn all over the place. Now the reason you want to make sure this room is clear is because of this rack right there. This is your third and final rack for that data pad, but obviously you don't want to put the data pad in there yet because you need to hold it to do that, and if there's enemies they can take you down. So again, double triple check that you have killed everybody before you take out the data pad and put it in this rack. Now this is the final rack, so you won't have to do this again after this. So once we're done with that, we are going to continue to move on because we still need one data packet, and as you know, once you kill the right enemy, a marker will show up and you will download the data from that individual. Now sometimes that enemy could be one of the guys you kill in this room and you could have already had it. Sometimes you got to proceed a little bit further. So in my case, I'm having to proceed a little bit further, and this is the guy. Obviously I ended up reloading at the worst point, but there you go. As I kill him, the marker showed up. I walk up to him, download the data, and I can move on. And that's it. You have all the data packets now. All there's left to do is just decrypt the data. So we can get out of this room basically the same way we got in, but you can crawl under from here and get out. There is the med beds, by the way. I didn't show that to you guys earlier, so in case you need it. And that's it. Now you're gonna head over to your hoverbike, back to the pad where you had landed your ship, back to that main room with the fire, and just decrypt the data. As you're heading back, obviously just be careful again. This mission is quite lengthy, so there is a chance the enemies respawn. Sometimes you hear them, but they're not around. It's probably some of the remaining enemies or some of the enemies that are upstairs that got left. So don't worry about it too much. Go to this security room and go to this main terminal again where we decrypted the first set of data. You're basically going to need that decryption key again, so just put that in your hands and then just press F, and this time, because you've collected all the data packets, once you click decrypt, it's going to decrypt all of them at once. So that's why I kept saying you don't necessarily need the decryption key again, you just need to pick up one more of these things. And as soon as you decrypt, your contract is complete. So in addition to the loot room, you do get paid out 1 million AUEC for this contract, which is quite significant. But that's really it for the contract itself. Now the loot room is kind of interesting because previously, before 4.8, you used to get a massive amount of loot out of this room. Nowadays you really don't get anything other than some of those orange loot containers. Now the challenge is that CIG is trying to instance this loot room because people were exploiting it, but basically this is where it is. You're going to go to the warehouse now, which is what we had ignored previously, and to get into this loot room you need the data pad that you put in those 3 server racks before, so you currently can't access it. So you're going to take out your data pad, put it in the server rack next to this terminal over here, and that will then enable the elevator for you. Once the elevator opens up, you're just going to go to the warehouse and feel free to loot anything you need. Now again, like I said, the unfortunate part is that CIG has currently limited the loot that spawns in here, so you're really just getting a lot of these orange loot containers that you can loot from. But typically this used to be full of ship components and these cryopods. Now again, you know, if you want to grab anything, just put it in the elevator, send that elevator down, and I'll show you, you know, where you can get it in the hangar when you're trying to pull out your ship and leave this area. On the right hand side, I'm putting a clip of what loot used to look like before patch 4.8. So you used to get a massive amount of ship components, and it is coming back one day, but you know, right now now that's not the case. So once you've looted, just head back down the elevator back to the center room with the fire, and you're making your way to the ASOP terminal, which we've passed multiple times before during this mission. Pick a ship. Once you've picked the ship, in the hangar, just use the freight elevator to bring up any loot that you want to grab, and then that's really it, guys. Quantum away. My only advice to you would be set your quantum point as the hangars are opening, because you really want to quantum away as soon as possible, because there are Vanduul outside. So that's it. With that, the mission is done. You've got your money, you've got a little bit of the loot, and I really hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, please again don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate all the supports, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer. With that, I'll see you guys in the next one.